Hey guys, how you doing? Pat Parrott, Lacrosse Unlimited here. Today we're going to go over how to string our shooting strings into our stick and how to control our whip or no whip in our stick. So you can see I have my first shooter in here. Usually if I'm going to go two shooters, I'll start on the third row down with my first shooter. Alright, so for my second shooter, alright, I have two choices. I could go through the hole of the stick for my shooter, or I could wrap it around the sidewall. For this one, I'm going to wrap it around the sidewall. So I bring the shooting string through, and then I'm going to bring it one row down away from this first string. So I skip a row, all right, and in the back I'm always going to go under, and in the front I'll go over. So as I start here, my first row, I skip the row, I'm going to go under in the back, over in the front, and I'm just going to slowly pull it, make sure everything's lined up and the strings aren't getting twisted, make sure both sides are the same length, and now I'm going to do that the whole row down, making sure I stay in the same row, one row away from where that first string was. So in the back I go under, front I go over, and I pull lightly. Same thing to the next row, back under, front over. And then I'm just going to continue that same process all the way across the stick. Okay, so now once I've gone from one sidewall to the other, my shooting strings are in. I have my top string tied, but usually before I tie them, I'm going to check my shooting string. So I check the tension on them. The more tension I put on these shooters, the more whip I'm going to have in my stick. So the tighter I pull these shooters, the more when I shoot it, that ball is going to get caught in the whip. The looser my shooters are, the more I'm going to get more of a natural feel off the top of the stick, or clicking right off of the plastic. All right, so sometimes you keep it right in the middle. What I'll do a lot of times when I'm trying to figure out how tight I want my shooters is I'll pull them very tight, but I won't tie them. Then I'll throw the stick a couple times, and as I'm throwing, it'll loosen up. And once I like that feel, now I know where the tension is in my shooters. Now I'm just going to tie a knot to keep that tension that I like. So I just grab both shooters, put them together, and then I'm going to twist around, and I tie a knot. And as I tie this, I want to make sure I don't pull these shooting strings any tighter, but I also want this knot to end up right against the wall. So now I have that tension I want in my shooters. And as the stick breaks in, sometimes we'll get a little bit more whip, because now our pocket's getting deeper. So if we get a new stick strung from Lacrosse Unlimited, we go home, we play with it for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden we're finding that we're getting a lot of whip and the stick's thrown to the ground. All I'm going to do here is I'm going to loosen the knot up on my shooting string, and then I'm going to push it a little bit. That's going to stretch it out, and now I have less tension in that bottom shooter. If I want more whip, again, I'm just going to tighten up this knot, and now I'll get a little bit more whip in that shooting string. Again, this is all preference. It's just something you need to work with. A great idea, like I said, is to pull that shooting string, don't tie the knot, and throw with it a little and figure out how much whip or how little whip you actually want in your stick. All right, thanks for joining us today, guys, and remember, you can always stop down at your local Lacrosse Unlimited. We'll adjust your stick anytime. We're happy to do that.